Hello everyone, good morning and happy Thursday. So the rain has turned to snow and it's gonna get crazy out there, folks. So hopefully you've already came and got stocked up so that you can get potentially snowed into those houses and stay safe for everybody. But I am excited for this show. Hopefully my friend Francesca can make it in. I know the weather kind of scared some of the guests off today, so no worries. We want everyone to stay safe, but hopefully Francesca can come and help share her story. If not, we'll have her on a different day. But I wanted to share some things with you. Today is National World Cancer Day, so a lot of the topics that we talk about today will be surrounding World Cancer Day, just its effects on people and kind of life after cancer. So I want to start off the show with This Day in History, which is sponsored by our friends at Lutheran Living, and there were quite a few of them. I had to really narrow it down today. Lots of history happening on February 4th. So in 2004, Facebook is launched. I mean, talk about a game changer. 1962, St. Jude Children's Hospital was founded, which is very cool. They impact so many lives around the world. So I also want to remind you guys that today is the last day for the Michaela Brunson blood drive. So that is going on actually at the blood center right next door to where we are today at Hy-Vee. So this has been going on this week, and so today is the last day until Saturday, and they will have another, I guess, day that you have an opportunity to go in this weekend and donate in her honor. So I encourage you all to do that. Being able to impact up to 7 lives by a blood donation is just huge. And so it kind of ties in actually with World Cancer Day, because so many, I mean, my dad had to get blood transfusions on a regular basis with his cancer diagnosis. So it's so important, and I hope that you guys will all honor her memory and make a blood donation if you're eligible to do so right here at the Mississippi Valley Regional Blood Center next door to Hy-Vee out here on 2nd Avenue. So that is going on today and then again on Saturday. So I hope you guys will all go and make a donation for that. Other thing, so in the paper this week, there are some cool things that you'll want to check out if you haven't already seen it. Should have already landed in your mailbox. If not, they're available around town on newsstands. Joint effort. This week's highlight was Pinnacle, who have huge impacts on people's lives who have Alzheimer's and dementia, and I really create a great support effort around those folks and their families. So check out that article, and also the businesses who sponsor Joint Effort. Suntan City is having free tan week, obviously best week ever at Suntan City. So go and visit the girls at Suntan City and start getting that tan, maybe warm up a little bit. Oddly enough, my cancer journey began at Suntan City. That's how I found my cancer. So I was actually at Suntan City when I found my lump, and my journey literally began that day. And it's hard to, I don't know, some days it feels like it was just yesterday, and some days it feels like the amount of things that have been overcome by myself and my family since that day makes it feel like it was just years ago. So I don't know, I have always found that talking about it and sharing my story has been helpful to me, but not everyone feels that way. You know, some people keep it more personal of a journey, and that's okay too. It truly is whatever works for you to kind of get through the diagnosis and treatment and all of that stuff. So But yes, my cancer journey began that day when I noticed a lump in my breast, and I quickly, after my tanning appointment, I quickly ran to my sister's house, and she kind of confirmed that day that, yep, you need to definitely make an appointment. And after that, things really went quick. I don't know. My husband always says it didn't go quick, Ashley. It was like waiting for days for appointments that he felt like should happen like immediately. I think that's kind of a husband point of view, but I felt like it was just a whirlwind of appointments and news and, you know, do this and that after that day. But after meeting with one of my favorite doctors of all time, Dr. Armada, he confirmed that it was something to kind of look into, and we immediately got a mammogram at the age of 33, I believe, is when I got my diagnosis. You know, you don't get mammograms at that age. And so he quickly sent me over to get a mammogram, and then I got an ultrasound, and you could just see it on the providers' faces. You know, I kind of knew something was definitely wrong, but I actually wrote a speech when I was the hero of hope for Relay for Life, and I thought that I would share that with you now. I feel like it's the best way to kind of, I sat down for a few days and really got all of my thoughts together on my journey, and instead of rambling for hours, which I could probably do, I thought I would go through some of that with you guys so that you guys can hear my story. I'm hoping that by sharing my story today and in the past and clear into the future, I can help someone else through their road, you know, make them see that there is life after it, and how you fight the battle is, I swear to you, just your attitude is at least 50% of the battle, and staying positive. So I will go through and read this for you quickly, just my journey. So my life has been touched by cancers of all colors. Not one of those colors suited me or my loved ones, and my wish is that we demolish them all. Everyone listening right now most likely has a story where cancer has snuck up into their lives with a diagnosis for a family, a friend, or even themselves. Even more sad, some have multiple stories. In my life, I heard my dad tell me that he had colon cancer not once, but twice. I had him tell me that he had leukemia. I watched my dad fight, and I watched cancer take his life. I had my uncle walk into my room and tell me his diagnosis as tears streamed down his face, and my own. I've had siblings, friends, classmates, and coworkers. The list goes on and on. I never dreamed that one day I would be sitting there, seeing the faces of my own doctors and nurses, knowing before they even got the words out. I will never forget the day I received the news that it was my turn to literally fight for my life. I didn't get many details that first day other than these. We received your results, and I'm so sorry, but we found breast cancer. At that point, I remember no other words that my surgeon said, just cancer. After that, everything else went silent. I remember looking around the room at my family sitting in the room with me. I knew at that moment that it wasn't just my diagnosis. It was theirs too. I had to be strong. We left that appointment, we bought some alcohol, and headed to our favorite undisclosed, we can't share the location, but our undisclosed breakfast spot to digest the booze, breakfast, and our bad news. The next few weeks began the whirlwind of appointments, decisions, informing close family and friends, lots of tears, lots of hugs, lots of encouragement, but most importantly, lots of support and lots of hope. My motto quickly became, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. It reminded me to stay positive, but it kept me from feeling defeated. That became important quickly, as each appointment that I had gave more bad news. I had triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma breast cancer. It was aggressive. It was doubling in size from one appointment to the next, and I was in for a fight. But I was ready. I decided there were a couple different ways I could go. I could sit around and feel sorry for myself, which is very easy to do. Or I could take my diagnosis, I could share my story, and I could stay positive. At that time, my 8-year-old daughter quickly caught on that mommy wasn't the same. She was scared, so I got fierce. I refused to believe that I was dealt this for no reason. I began sharing my story, all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly. I quickly began getting messages from others, and we began supporting each other along the way. Francesca happens to be one of those people. It was early in my journey that Ashley's Army took form. I will never be able to repay my family, friends, and my community for the overwhelming amount of support that I had along the way. From meals to my giant benefit, where hundreds, maybe even more, showed up. For me, it was crazy. I'm still not at the end of my war, although I have won many of the battles so far. On this day, over 14 months ago, I could hardly get out of bed because of the chemo. It was draining every ounce, every single ounce of energy that I had. There were several days that I would take Hanley to school. I'd get up, get dressed, take Hanley to school, and then I would come home, get undressed, get back into my sweats, get back into my my sweatshirt, and crawl back into bed immediately. I didn't want her to see that I was hurting. In November, after months of chemo, biopsies, a bajillion appointments, thousands upon thousands of dollars, multiple surgeries, and a double bilateral mastectomy, my oncologist reported clear margins. No more cancer was found. Unfortunately, I still have a list that I call my cancer butt-kicking list. It's my to-do list. So I can officially say that I'm done. I've came across so many mountains to fight along the journey, some that I didn't ever expect. My last surgery was supposed to be so easy. It should have been the simplest of them all, but it wasn't. It actually, during surgery, my heart stopped. I coded. They had to perform CPR. They had to inject medicines to get my heart to start. All of these things, and it's things that people don't necessarily think about on a cancer journey or expect, but they're things that pop up, things that chemo do to your body. We're still not sure why. And so that's why I say that my battle is still going. Even though the cancer is gone, so many things stick around, they linger. Like for me, my heart, I just got done wearing my heart monitor. So I guess the point to all of that is that when people's diagnosis is over, when they've defeated their survivor, it doesn't necessarily mean their story is over. Sometimes they still need a little bit of support. But the worst part, I think, is that my story is the same as so many others. Cancer is everywhere. We're not alone in our fights because, especially in my town, no one fights alone. So many people get a diagnosis of breast cancer, lung cancer, leukemia, the list goes on and on and on. And so today, on World Cancer Day, I am asking you all to just take a minute and honor the fight. Honor not only the people who fought the battle with the cancer diagnosis, but the people who surrounded them. Like I said at the beginning of my speech that day, it wasn't just my diagnosis, it was my whole family's diagnosis. It was my friend's diagnosis, and we all really were in for a fight together, and without them, I literally have no idea how I could have got through it, how I could get to today. Last week I posted on Facebook, one of my wins was that I had like a real legit ponytail. After losing all of your hair and being bald and not having eyebrows and all of those fun things that come with chemo, that was my win. I was having a rough day, and I thought to myself, okay, what can I be grateful for? And that day it was my ponytail. I have a ponytail. And it seems funny, it seems like a little thing that we take for granted, but when you lose something, a lot of times it becomes important, and you realize that we take a lot of things for granted. So I encourage you all today on World Cancer Day to reach out to somebody, whether they're a caregiver, whether they currently have cancer, whether they're someone who lost someone close to them from cancer. Reach out. Share a smile, share an encouraging word, or just let them know that you're there. I still have days where I feel like, ugh, I just don't want to get out of bed. And that's okay. I promised that I wasn't going to just share the good stuff along my journey. And so that's part of it, is sharing with everyone that it's okay to not have a good day. Even 2 years later, I still have days where I'm like, ugh, just drained. You learn to be super strong for the people around you, and sometimes that's really, really draining. And it's okay to have a bad day, and to remember how hard you fought. And if you're still fighting, I hope that you will share your story with someone. It doesn't have to be like me, where I was willing to share my story with anyone that needed to hear it or wanted to hear it, or in a lot of ways, I feel like it's what kept me going. But I think it's important to share with someone, to know that there are other people out there fighting those same battles that you are, and to know that you're not alone. So it's not always easy to share the real, nitty gritty, down and dirty cancer stories with your loved ones, because you want to protect them from all that. So for me, it was Francesca. There were days that I would reach out to her, and I'm not going to cry. I promised myself I wasn't, but she saved me on so many days. And so I hope that you will all reach out, be that someone for someone else. Rachel, she was also going to join us today. Darn it, this stupid weather outside. But we all, Heidi, after my journey was almost over, Heidi was diagnosed with breast cancer, and quickly we scooped her up and wanted her to be part of our group. And it really is a brother and sisterhood that it's this cool group that you don't necessarily want to join, but you do, and it's amazing afterwards. But so many women, so many men have scooped me up and supported me, and I couldn't have done it without them. The survivors, the people who shared stories, the people who reached out along the journey was just ridiculous. There's so many people that are affected by cancer. So I hope today on World Cancer Day that you take a minute out of your busy day and reach out. Reach out to someone, a survivor, a fighter, maybe someone who's lost someone, or maybe it's a caregiver. They go through a lot too. I think about all the appointments that my family took me to, my sisters and my brother, and how much time it took out of their lives. It's crazy. So I hope that you guys all reach out to someone today on World Cancer Day. We put together a video that we're going to share with you at the end of the show. Yesterday I put a post out, and it just simply said, hey, I need your help. Tomorrow's World Cancer Day, And I want to hear your stories. I want to see your pictures of fighters and survivors and people we've lost. And you can also include, you know, an encouraging word to that person or just a little message for them. And we put together a video. And we were still working on the video like a few minutes before the show started because they just keep piling in, and it breaks my heart because we're still not done with the list of people just who know me or who were reached by that post. And so I mean, I guess the prayer is always that someday we'll have a cure for it, but for now we just have to stick together. And so I hope I will continue. I promise when I get home after the show today, I'm going to continue to work on that video, and we'll continue to add people and share that out later this evening. I mean, you know, at some point I guess I have to to cut it off and not add more, but they just still are piling in, and I want everyone to get that moment on World Cancer Day to share their story, to say a kind word to someone that they love that's been affected. So before that, though, I have to share a few other things, clean up some other business on the show. But thank you guys for listening to my story, for being a part of it. It's crazy the people who come up to me and say, "You're Ashley, right?" And I'm like, "Ooh, oh gosh, did I forget this person's name? Have I met them before?" And they're like, No. Like they must see the panic on my face. No, you probably don't know me. I've read a lot about your story. I've heard your story. I've seen, you know, and I think that that's cool. I think it's cool that that is something that helped me, and that hopefully is helping other people. I know my daughter and husband have the same similar stories. You know, he said he was at the Y yesterday or a couple of days ago, and someone said, "Hey, is Ashley Loveless your wife?" You know, and so the story is spreading. So if you have a story to tell, it's pretty cool to be able to tell it, and to have people really listen, and to have it really help people. So that's been, I think, my favorite part of the entire journey. So I have to say thank you to Chris P for literally pinking out my entire set. This is like best day ever. Pink is everywhere. He's even wearing pink. I mean, come on. But pink's my color, but there are so many other colors that literally represent all of the cancers that affect people's lives. And even though pink is my color, there are a lot of other ones out there. We will go to the aisle cam for a minute here and show you some Valentine's Day stuff, because I promised I would remind you guys about Valentine's Day until literally the last minute. I'm going to be reminding you all to check out Hy-Vee for your Valentine's needs. Order those flowers, grab that present or card, or make a card, or whatever it is that you plan to do for your Valentine's. So here's the, that was the aisle cam, and there's so many beautiful flowers that you can choose from at the floral department. Lots of them are on my set today. All the pink ones anyways. But I hope that you guys will all make those orders and be prepared for Valentine's Day. Who knows? We might get a snowstorm. You can't get out. So also at Hy-Vee, they're having a sale in the meat department, and you guys aren't going to want to miss it. So check out the back page of your Discover Muscatine for all the great deals that are happening here at Hy-Vee locally, and also the ad for Universal Hy-Vee. So corporate Hy-Vee also put an ad out this week with a ton of great deals. So get ready for Super Bowl with the meat bundle sale. And I want to say thank you before I go to all of our sponsors, every single one of them. Toyota Muscatine, CBI, our friends at Lutheran Living, and of course Hy-Vee for the Market Grill Express Studios. We're going to end the show today. Thank you so much for listening to my story. But we're going to end the show today with the video, and I promise I will continue to add. So if you don't see your loved one, I will get them added if you've already sent that to me. But I hope that you guys enjoy this and take a minute to really look at people's journeys, how many journeys just here locally there are for World Cancer Day. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll end the show with the video. And remember, until tomorrow, that kindness is free, so spread that stuff wherever you go.